Hey, this is Steve Halleck from TikToking, and today I have another one of my favorite watches ever from one of my favorite brands, Urwerk. Please subscribe to the channel, and of course check out www.tiktoking.com, where actually this watch is currently for sale, as well as a bunch of sort of the coolest watches that are out and very hard to find. I'm trying to curate some really neat stuff, and I have all sorts of great articles about the industry and about watches and stuff like that. So check it out, and let me show you this piece. So for those of you familiar with the YouTube channel, you know that I did another couple videos with an Urwerk 202, and that one was in Altin, which is a steel that has been treated to be extra hard, and it's sort of a gray color, and it's very cool. So you can check out those videos if you like this watch. But this one is particularly special. This is actually black platinum, and I can tell you this watch has some serious heft to it. But if you see here, rather than being marked with a number like most of them, it's marked Edition Special, and very, very, very few of these were made, and this is one of them. So just to show you a little bit about the 202, of course Urwerk is famous for these unconventional time displays that generally are some sort of satellite that kind of track a movement along some sort of track, similar to how a sundial would work. That's kind of their basic inspiration. And the 202 in particular is this really cool mechanism with cubes that turn and then these needles that come out. And probably the coolest part is that the needle goes in and out as it goes along this track, so it's always just perfectly touching it. So let me show you how that works. Try to get away from this fluorescent light for you. So here we go. There, so it's showing 1050. Now let's advance it here. You can see 11 came down, and the marker goes right out to the 0. And then look here, it's lengthening, and now this is as long as it's going to come out, down to the 15. But now watch, it needs to get shorter. So it gets shorter as it goes along the track, and now it's very close to the 30, and that's the shortest it's going to get. And let's keep going. Now keep your eye on this 3, because after 11 obviously should be 12, right? So I'm going here, and this needle is lengthening out, and as that's happening, this cube is rotating. The 12 comes around. That's still kind of going in and out to hit the time mark, but the 12 is now around, and this needle comes out. Now realize they go as short there as they can so they can actually clear the case. So now it's gone from that short to that far out to hit the 0, and you're back here at 12 o'clock. So really ingenious mechanism. It's super cool. For anyone who owns this watch, you know that your watch will never be telling the right time, because every time you show it to somebody, you have to basically take it off and start going like this to show them how it works, because it's just so incredibly cool. But let's watch that 2 travel all the way around. So it was a 2 there. Keep your eye on it. Here, it starts turning to the 11, but that's still not what we want, because we got a 4 down here, right? An 8, still not what we want. And then one more turn, and we've got a 5 on that one. So, super cool mechanism. You can see, in addition, you've got a moon phase over here, and this is a day and night meter. So, here is the other really cool thing about this watch. So, it's actually an automatically wound movement. There's a rotor under here, and there's this selector switch, and what this does is basically you have wind turbines here, and this controls the amount of airflow around the rotor basically. And so as you open it up, so I don't know if you can see, it's very lightly marked, but this is marked standard over here, this is sport, and this here is extreme. And so as you select, oh, the focus went out there. There we go. As you select a different setting here, it changes the airflow, and the air basically acts like a brake around the rotor. So when it's standard, you have the most easy winding. And then as you go here, you can see some of these vents are closed up. So there's more air pressure on the rotor itself, and it doesn't flow as freely. So in sport, if you're going to be really active, it keeps the rotor from spinning too much and possibly hurting the movement. And then if you go to extreme, it really blocks off the airflow, so the rotor does not turn that much, and so you have even less rotational damage of the movement. So it's kind of an ingenious way of doing that. You know, the early Richard Mille RM5s, they had like that same idea where you could make the rotor turn more or less, but you had to actually like open the case and do a full service of the watch and pick your rotor setting. So this one you can set on the fly depending on what you're doing. So just a pretty neat touch and very kind of space agey. So let me show it to you on the wrist. Again, this is a really stiff brand new strap, so I'll try to get it on somehow where it looks okay, but we're gonna have a little bit of a gap. It looks pretty cool on almost any wrist. It's not that big of a watch, so you can see, especially this way, it sits pretty well, and it's kind of tall. It definitely is noticeable on the wrist, but it just looks like something interesting. Super easy to tell time once you get used to the system, and it's just a cool watch. Obviously, this platinum one is a lot more, a lot heavier than the steel Alton. But what's cool about it is that there's only maybe a handful of them in the world, and nobody would really know that that's what it is. Like, no one would know this watch is platinum unless you really, really know. So it's very, very sort of stealthy way to A, have a big block of precious metal on your wrist, and B, have one of the kind of rarest watches in the world without anybody knowing it. So that's the Urwerk 202 in black platinum, and I hope you enjoyed.